It is Friday, July 12th. My name is Daniel. You're watching the YouTube ministry. Thank you for stopping by the channel, and thank you for stopping by the Facebook page as well. These are my kids. This is Amelia and Junebug, and this is little Anthony. Normally I do the video when they're taking a nap, but not today, as you can see. Today is gonna be good, guys. Go watch cartoons. Good. You want to watch cartoons? Go ahead. Today I'm not going to do a word of the day. I'm actually going to do testimony of how I know that Jesus is the Son of God and what was my God encounter. Excuse me. Now, before I start, I just want to say I definitely have had some really positive role models in my life before I was saved. My mom and dad, my aunt Catherine, Paul Socha, who was my baseball coach in ADSL, Josh Powell, who was in ADSL, was an amazing man, really helped me a lot. In high school, Coach John Rice, loved that man, awesome man. Coach Paul Duhame, Coach Whitfield, Coach Henry, the list goes on from the positive role models that I've had that's actually made me into the man I am today. And if I forgot you, I'm sorry, but you know who you are and what you've done in my life for me. And so this actually testimony starts when I was 19 years old. When I was 19, I actually moved from South Boston to Somerville, Massachusetts. And when we moved, I was on the bus to get off on the bus stop, and I actually saw my cousin Danny sitting at the bus stop. And I waved to him, "Hey, what's up? Blah blah blah." I haven't seen him in about 10 years. And come to find out when I saw the new apartment that Danny actually lived only 3 houses up, which was awesome because he was separated when he was 5, I believe. His mom took him. There's some parental issues that was going on. His mom took him, and he was separated from the family. But I did have a lot of vivid memories of Christmas time over my grandmother's house in Charlestown, and it was awesome that I got to see him, and we really got to know each other. And I loved him so much, just like a little brother. Danny was an awesome kid. He really was. He was funny, and his accent was hilarious. And you want to talk about a Boston accent? Now I'm from Boston, so he had probably the thickest accent that I've ever heard. He always said "buddy" all the time. "What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy?" Everything was "buddy." "What's up, buddy?" But I could never take him seriously, even when he was mad, because of his accent. He used to get aggravated with me, and said, "What's so funny?" But nonetheless, we got to hang out. His girlfriend actually lived 3 houses down from me, so he was always on Jake Street all the time. And we got to hang out. And when I was 19, I had to get surgery on my elbow. I was a pitcher for a long time. I needed to get an ulnar nerve decompression. I don't know if you can see right here see the scar. And so I was home a lot. So Danny would come over a lot. We would hang out a lot, and it was awesome. I really got to know him. And one day, randomly, Danny came to my apartment and says, "I just want to say goodbye." I says, "Goodbye?" And he's like, "I just wanted to tell you, that I love you very much." But the way that he said it, there was like something was really wrong. And when he left, I was like, man, something's not right. About 20 minutes later, I went to his apartment. I knocked on his door. I told him to come outside, and he told me that he wanted to kill himself. And the reason, that he said he wanted to kill himself, I'm not saying it was a valid reason to commit suicide, but it was a tough situation for a 17-year-old to go through. And I said, "Please, man, just come outside." I was like, "I don't even smoke cigarettes, but give me a cigarette, and we'll go, we'll smoke a cigarette, we'll talk about it." And after we walked around, he ripped off his rosary and was like, "F God, God is not real," and everything like that. And I couldn't believe what he was saying. And he stopped and actually turned and gave me a hug. And anybody that's watching this that knew Danny, man, he didn't cry a lot, and he just started bawling, weeping in my arms, and I couldn't help it. I started weeping too and crying, and saying that he didn't want to live, and I just couldn't believe it. And I asked him, "Well, what am I supposed to do after you told me that you want to kill yourself? What am I supposed to do? What about your mother?" You know, you're your mother's only child. What am I supposed to do? And he said, please, Benjamin, please don't tell her. Or don't tell anybody. And, I says, well, the only way that I cannot tell anybody was, we missed all this time together. I want you to be the best man at my wedding. Please, I really do. We missed all this time together. Please promise me you're going to be the best man at my wedding, and I won't tell anybody. So sure enough, he promised me, and everything was good. We actually enjoyed our first Christmas together, from as far as I can remember, and we had a great time, and we would just laugh. And it was 2003 is when Aaron Boone hit that home run off Tim Wakefield, and we were devastated together for the Red Sox. Another year the Red Sox blew it. But we just enjoyed, life together. And, the last picture I have is actually with him on Christmas Eve. So you flash forward to January 19th, and on January 19th, I was drinking. I had a couple beers in me, and he came to my door and was like, hey, I think my girlfriend's cheating on me. I says, man, your girlfriend's not cheating on you. I was like, you're just 17, she's 15, it's just, it's just an immature relationship. People play games or whatever, and I kind of shushed him away. And I knew he was mad at me. He was upset that I didn't talk to him about it. So about a half hour goes by, and for the sake of the testimony, I was actually rolling a blunt, and I says to him, I called him and I says, hey D, I was like, man, I'm sorry, but I'm rolling a blunt right now, and I know you have to go to work tomorrow. And I was like, what time do you have to go to work? He said 3 o'clock, and he was actually he washed dishes at Harvard University. I says, all right, man, cool. I says, I'll come before work. I'll smoke with you, and we'll chill out, and we'll talk about it. And he said, cool. Hung up the phone. I says, but D, I says, you gotta call me though, because to wake me up. And so the next day, I wake up at like 1 o'clock, and he hasn't called me. This is on January 20th. And so I waited about 20 minutes, and I says, he's probably just still mad at me from the night before, for me dissing him, and I'm going to give him a space. So I went out to Foss Park, I smoked a blunt, and as I was smoking, honest to God truth, the Holy Spirit, now I realize the Holy Spirit told me, go to his house now. Go to his house. Go to his house. And I ignored it. I did. I ignored it. I just dismissed it. I says, he's just mad at me. I don't want to step on any toes, and give him a space. So go to work. I'll holler at him after he gets off of work. So I chilled at Foss Park, and then I went home. And when I went home, I wasn't even home 5 minutes, and I was sitting on the edge of the couch. The phone rang, and my sister Lorraine, I'll never forget her words. She says, Danny just hung himself. And I just went into shock. I couldn't believe it. So I just went and I walked up to his house, and I saw, sure enough, the ambulances and the yellow tape. And I just went into shock. And we went to the hospital, and I couldn't go into the room for like 45 minutes, and I stayed outside in the hallway. And when I finally went outside into the hallway, into the room, all I saw was Danny, and he was blue. And his mom was holding him, and the only thing she kept saying was, why did this happen? And I couldn't even say nothing. And I left, and at the time I had been sober, for a couple months, and stupid, during his wake I actually broke my sobriety, and I sniffed an OC80 and went to his wake like an idiot, and was nodding out at his casket, and it was just horrible. It was just a horrible situation, and I just couldn't believe it. And then to my mind, I remembered him telling me exactly how he was going to do it. He told me he was going to hang himself with a belt, and the belt could hold him. And I said, go ahead, you effing P-U-S-S-Y, and then I just broke down and started crying. And I got high all that day and all that night, and I was so messed up I couldn't even go to his funeral the next day, which I regret still to this day. And during that time period, I hated God. I hated Him. I hated Him. I hated Him. I hated Him. No way God existed. I thought I could save Him. 19 years old, and here I was, oh, I'm a big holy man, and, I can save Him, and, which was wrong. It was wrong. I was totally wrong. And I could walk by His house every day, and I would just lose it. I'd cry, and inside, I wouldn't cry, with tears. I'd just be devastated. Until finally one day, I just, bought a bus ticket to Florida. I couldn't do it. I couldn't make it. I had to get out of there. And so when I'm in Florida, I go and I leave Florida. I had a couple $100 in a bag of clothes, and I end up moving in with this woman, Marlene. And when I moved in, my mom was there. She came down to visit, and that night I was just dealing with depression so bad, and I went to the closet and I took a belt and I put it on the thing, and I put the belt around my neck, and then I let go just to see if the closet would hold me. And it would have held me. So I stopped after about 2 minutes, and I just stopped bawling my eyes out. And I go outside, and I lean against the car, and I had my Celtics jersey on, and I remember it was a full moon, and I looked up, and I always felt the call of God in my life. I did. I always felt it. And I said, Lord, I says, if you don't help me now, I'm going to kill myself. And right before that, I sprinted as fast as I could around the block, just ran, and I've never just ran as hard as I could. And then, coming back to the car, I looked at the full moon and said that. And I remember looking up at the moon, and then as my eyes came back down, there was a man across the street, and he was waving his arms like that. And I was leaning against the car, so I had my Celtics jersey on, and I just assumed that this man, because he's never seen me before, was asking me what I was doing next to the car. So I walk over to the gentleman, and I says, "Hey, what's up, man?" I says, I was wiping the tears out of my face. I says, I just moved in here. I said, my name's Daniel, I'm from Boston. I was like, I know who owns that car. I'm not trying to steal it. He says, No. He's like, I don't think you're trying to steal it. He was like, I was walking to my door, and God told me to turn around, and I turned around, and there you were. And so we talked for a couple seconds, and I asked him what he did, and he told me that he was a pastor. And I just started bawling my eyes out. I just started bawling, and I told him everything. And it probably within like 3 minutes, I told him everything about Danny, about him, committing suicide, about me not telling anybody, and everything like that. And he put down his stuff in the middle of the street, and he prayed with me. And I'll never forget his words, and I was sobbing and weeping, and he says, Jesus, we say when we are yours, that you will give us rest, that you are a healer. And I'll never forget his words. He says, in the name of Jesus right now, I feel you taking Daniel's pain right now. And as God is my witness, I went from uncontrollable crying to uncontrollable laughter in a second. I felt God. God came down from heaven and He helped me. And I went to church with him, and I knew right then that Jesus was the Son of God, because I was going to kill myself. And that was when I was 19. I'm 28 years old now, and that's 9 years ago. And my dream is to open the Danny Nunes Youth Center in honor of my cousin Danny, to raise up young men of God and to lead them on the path of righteousness, to know that Jesus is there for them. At the same time, having a recreation center and having a computer lab, and if kids that play sports, to make videos to send to the colleges that they want to go to have them come and scout them, to have a Bible school, all this stuff I want to do. And I want it to be the Danny Nunes Youth Center, and I know I'm going to open it. I know it, and I absolutely know it. And I do know that Jesus is the Son of God, And if Jesus was not the Son of God, I would not be talking to you right now. I would be dead. And I promise, I don't say that out of cockiness. I say that because my mind was fully made up to commit suicide that night. And that's how I know that Jesus is the Son of God. That's why people tell me that I'm stupid. I says, man, you're crazy. You don't even know. And it's not often that I give this testimony. But I know this is longer than I normally do, and I apologize. But I just felt the need to give my testimony. And again, thank you for listening. And hope you all have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys on Monday. And God bless you. Take care.